tournament has become a staple of top lacrosse. From seniors to freshmen, the elite high school players in the nation are on full display. This year, we implemented a new regional format pitting the North, South, East, and West against each other. The best of the best face off in October, and we wanted to review the competition before the big day. This is the All-America Tournament Road to the National Championship. Greetings and salutations, one and all. Thanks for joining us here on the road to the National Championship. We're going to get into the South Super Regional Tournament. I'm Booker Corrigan alongside ESPN analyst Mark Dixon. Dixie, every team in this South Super region faced some obstacles. What were they for the different regions?
Well, when you look at the South, Baltimore is the host, and you could probably say that they're the favorite in terms of always having a target on their back. A lot of people across the country believe that Baltimore is the most talent-laden region, both with the boys and the girls, and the fact that they got to sleep in their own beds and make a short drive to Meadowood made them the favorite. So they had that pressure. You look at the South, that's a region that has kids coming from all those different southern states. A lot of them have to fly. A lot of them drove a long way, especially during this the COVID pandemic. So there's some adversity right there to face. And also with the Baltimore team as well as with the DC team, there's some built-in familiarity playing at the same high schools, playing on the same clubs against each other. With the South, a lot of times you have a certain extent of that, but not maybe the extensive situation that Baltimore and DC may have had. And then of course, the DC region, they have really come up over the last years, challenging for championships on both the command and the highlight side of things. And that's a group that really wants to prove themselves, you know, especially against their Baltimore counterparts. Not to take anything away from the South, but that Baltimore-DC rivalry is alive and well. So really trying to overcome that perception that Baltimore is the king, that may have led to a little bit more gusto in their game.
And DC did play with a bit of a chip on their shoulder at times. Let's talk about some of the featured athletes. McCabe Millen, he comes from good stock. He plays pretty well.
Millen was an incredibly impressive player throughout the tournament, throughout that weekend. For my money, he was probably the most polished and the best all-around player at the South Super Regional for that Baltimore team. He's a guy that can do it all. He's got explosive speed, great vision, very strong, and tremendous stick work. But what I thought set him apart was just his footwork. You know, how hard he competed. And Millen was a big reason why Baltimore got to that championship game.
Reminds me of somebody I used to watch who wore number 9 back in the day. His dad, Mark Millen, is certainly a star. Ladd Harper out of Ponte Vedra High School. I know Tom West, Ray Carnicelli, they love this kid. What do you like about Ladd?
Well, the thing with Harper is he's a smaller player.
Other than his first name.
Well, the South had some interesting first names. I gotta hand it to them. Creative naming by their. But Ladd Harper, smaller kid. Younger kid as well, but the South incorporated a slower pace of play throughout the Super Regional and the Command Division, and Ladd Harper was a huge reason why they could do that. He was able to win possessions. He could win it to himself. I thought he incorporated his wings really, really well, but Harper was a guy that could get the possessions for the South that they needed to play the tempo that they wanted to. They sprung an upset against Baltimore on Saturday. And in the first game on the Sunday to see who would get to the championship game, Harper was a big reason why the South was able to hang around with the Baltimore team. So Harper really acquitted himself well in the weekend in South Super Regional.
And DC, their MVP, Colin Burns out of Georgetown Prep, he was the focus of the defense. He's a star on the rise.
You know, Burns is a good player. DC, I thought, had a number of players that could have not only made all tournament, but been the MVP. But Burns seems to be the straw that stirs the drink, the guy who quarterbacks the offense, and he played very, very well that weekend.
As you mentioned, DC had a little bit of a roll going, 3-1 through the pool play. Baltimore 2-2, and the South 1-3, but a nice win over Baltimore. Coach Tommy Marechek out of IMG, he's got to be thrilled with the way his team came together. You mentioned they have that obstacle of coming from far and wide, but you build team chemistry, you play hard together. And let's take a look at some of the highlights from the championship game of the boys command division of the South Super Regional. Ian Can, DC in yellow, the star from North Cross, coach Chris Pollock's got to be thrilled with the star there. Baltimore is in purple. They're trying to clear, can't make it happen, and Colin Burns is going to convert the pass from Ryan Dunkel. Let's get Baltimore on the board. They trail 3-0, but Wyatt Hoddle with a nifty feed to Jacob Pacheco, the star from Valor Christian. And now here comes DC on the fast break, clear 4-on-3, and Leonard Moore finishes. And they are rolling heavy. 6-1 now. Baltimore's going to climb back in it. McCabe Millen, speed dodge, great vision. Owen Dixon out of Loyola with the tidy finish. Once again, McCabe Millen sneaks from behind, finds an opportunity, low dunk. McCabe Millen proving he's a star on the rise. And now Baltimore again. Jacob Pacheco, time, room, bullseye. Baltimore, they know they've got to get this baby to overtime, and McCabe Millen does the honor. Lots of fire and emotion. You see Millen coming around here, scores, and he is jacked. But overtime is Malik Wood time. DC dodges from behind. They score, and you see them losing control because they are going to Virginia Beach. Dixie, stone cold studs.
Well, McCabe Millen, as I mentioned previous, the best player in the entire tournament. Washington fouled a lot in this game, and the extra man was what got Baltimore back in this contest. They were down 5-1. They were able to fight back due to extra man opportunities, and Millen was the main catalyst there. Colin Burns is your MVP of the South Super Regional. He was steady all tournament long, but again, they had a lot of weapons. Nate Kabiri, we saw Ryan Dunkel with a nice assist. He's a 2024 out of Landon. That was impressive. Balance was the name of the game for this DC team. They were balanced. They didn't focus on one or two players, especially on the offensive end, and that team effort is what carried them to the championship.
When we get back, it'll be the girls' command division, and what a sight it was. Dixie, I promised the girls command out of the South Super Region. One of these teams is going to get an invite to Virginia Beach in mid-October. What did you like about these squads before they all began play?
Well, I think the biggest thing that I take, and I get to call women's games for the Big Ten Network, is the athleticism that these women possess. The girls in this situation, just so fast, so strong, so skilled. So the women's game is very, very pretty to watch. A little frustrating sometimes with all the stoppage in play, with a lot of whistles, a lot of intricate rules and that kind of thing. But when you see the best of the best from the high school division compete, it's really something to watch.
And we have three featured athletes. Isabella Torres out of Glenelg. What'd you like about her game?
Scoring machine.
And
I mean,
toughness.
she could put the ball in the back of the net. Just a really strong player with an incredible nose for the goal.
And we have a highlight of her in the championship game, getting knocked to the turf and smiling on her way up. Haley Simpson out of Flint Hill, star.
Flint Hill, from back when I was growing up, that was a basketball powerhouse down in the state of Virginia. But Simpson doing a great job continuing that tradition of outstanding athletes from that school.
Ann Edens out of Wando High School. Shout out Thomas Gribbin, my main man from Wando. What do you like about the way she plays?
Toughness, a lot of toughness. Very physical player and someone who's not to be denied when she has the ball.
And wait till you see who made for that championship game. Pool play, Baltimore went 4-0. South 2-2, DC 0-4. We'll see how things evolve, and let's get right to the championship game highlights. Baltimore in purple and the South in red, and Natalie Shirtland, free position, cha-ching, straight cash. And now it's Reagan Byrne, and we're now in the Byrne family video as she finds her sister Blair Byrne to Reagan Byrne. Backyard plays do work. Goal number 4, Isabella Torres. I told you, falling down, getting up with her smile on her face. Lauren Steer with the pass. And now the South getting on the board. Crisp pass from Chloe Pierini to Samantha Swanovich. Then it's 2 straight from the South star, Annie Edens, the star out of Wando High School. Back-to-back goals for her. And then Baltimore. Lauren Steer on a pass from Madison Rassis. The Rassis with the pass with the Secret Service tip line. And Lauren Brown closes it out for Baltimore. Simply too much for the South squad. Dixie, there's your stars.
Yeah, Torres, you can see 6 goals and an assist throughout the Super Regional, but balance, that's a word that you're going to hear me use a lot. You need the balance when you have all these tremendous players coming together, and Baltimore had it, and they just buzzsawed the competition. They were just a dominant team in the girls' command. There you see Ann Edens, 6 goals, 2 assists. We saw that goal in the championship game. The South went 2-2, and the only team that they lost to was Baltimore. Ended up losing to the girls from Charm City 3 separate occasions, but the South and Ann Edens did a great job of putting themselves in this tournament.
So much talent on that South squad. They did an amazing job coming together as a team. When we get back, we're going to examine the girls' highlight division of the South Super Regional All-American Tournament. Thanks for joining us back. Booker Corrigan, Mark Dixon, and we're going to look at the girls' highlight division of the South Super Regional. Great competition, great level of play. The highlight division is made up of the class of 21 and 22. These girls are ready to go off to college, but not just yet. They have a score to settle. What were your thoughts of this division coming in?
Well, this is where you start talking about college commitments. The class of 21, a lot of these athletes already committed to where they're going to spend the next 4 years once they graduate from high school. And then you have the 22s that are now on the clock. So this was one of their quote-unquote last hurrahs before being introduced to the recruiting process live. So always tremendous competition in the highlight division. And the girls, again, you're looking at the Baltimore team as the favorite, but DC and the South having some tremendous players. So it was really anybody's tournament.
And I like the way you broke down the 21s who have already, a lot of them gone through it. Juniors, they've now gotten to a point where we're in September. They can stop attending all these showcases that happen all over the country all the time, and they all want more and more money. Let's get into the 3 stars that you like, the featured athletes. Kate Miller out of Atlee High School.
Yeah, and she is headed to the University of Virginia, a talented player, good speed, good size, and someone that just really makes a difference for this DC team.
Delaney High School's Sammy White. She proved to be the MVP. Wow.
Sammy White, shout out Rick White, longtime WMAR TV producer for the lacrosse game of the week that I was a part of for so many years. But Sammy, tremendous athlete, heading to Northwestern. So a very special player out of Delaney, and amongst a weekend of star lacrosse players, she's the one that's shown the brightest.
And Marley Colonel Sanders out of Milton. What did you like about her game?
Well, the first thing is Milton High School sends a lot of girls to tremendous lacrosse playing programs at the Division I level, and Sanders is no exception. Headed to Notre Dame, she'll spend her college career in South Bend, but one of those players that, kind of a typical Notre Dame recruit, very smart, smart, very intelligent, plays within her capabilities, and had a tremendous tournament.
Would you say the same thing about Notre Dame fans?
Notre Dame fans, what sport?
Very intelligent, very sharp
we-
dressers. They don't mind putting a little gel in their hair every now and then, right?
You just want the spotlight on yourself.
No.
You want
Well, I'm
everybody to
trying
know
to
that
think-
Booker wants everybody to know that he's wearing product. He has
Yeah.
product in his hair. I don't have that problem, folks, for obvious reasons. But Booker, look at him. Look at
Nothing
him.
wrong with it. Through the pool play, Baltimore rolled 4-0. DC 1-3, South 1-3, so they split games. Semifinal went down. Now, let's get into the highlights of that championship game. Baltimore proving their worth. Championship game, Baltimore in the South, and Christina Gagnon gets it started. The daughter of a coach, and Baltimore's rolling, and now we get to finish. Maggie Weissman finishes the fast break. Here's the South, Eva Beastman with a quick finish for the South squad, and now Baltimore's Gracie Driggs. What a play by her. Lauren Render striding through the middle of the field and cashes in. A star is born. We talked about Marley Colonel Sanders. What a play by her. And now it's Baltimore's number 12, Demma Hall, executing the 5 Ds of dodging. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. The South, Bree Katz with the free position, and it's free stuff for Bree Katz. Emma Kennedy for Baltimore, bringing it, slinging it, stinging it. And lastly, it's Corey Edmondson, straight power move, and then she crucifies the corner. Goodness. Dixie, let's get in to the stars. Dixie, stone cold stars.
Yeah, Kate Miller, again, headed to Virginia, had a great tournament, 10 points on the weekend, and someone that was a bright spot for a DC team that had a little bit of, going 1-3, and then you lose in the Sunday morning game and fail to advance to the championship. Miller was really a bright spot for Virginia, and you look at Sanders, 14 points over the course of the weekend. She was good on ball, off ball. I thought she redefended really, really well. Sanders is really a terrific player.
After this, we will return with the culminating event, the Boys Highlight Division Championship. The bracket was set. Pool play went unbelievably hotly contested. And the South Super Region is going to send one of these teams to Virginia Beach, October 16 to 18. Back to take a close examination of the Boys Highlight Division of the South Super Region. This all took place at Meadowood Park, and these teams came to play. Dixie, what were your thoughts for the Boys Highlights before play started?
I thought Washington, D.C. was hands down the favorite in this region. You look at the players that they had on the roster that had already committed to schools, and the majority of their roster were 2021s. Baltimore, on the other hand, a lot of the 21s did not try out for Baltimore. And so they had a lot of 22s, very, very talented 22s, but a really young team. And then the South, again, sometimes you just don't know what you're going to get from the Southern folks, but they're a group that you knew was going to be athletic. You knew they were going to be tough. They always are, and they proved that to be. So I thought D.C. was the favorite. Baltimore, how would the young team fare? And then you got that wild card South. How are they going to disrupt the flow of this tournament?
And looking at the pool play, you're right, DC rolled 4-0 2-0. Baltimore 2-2. And the South goes 0-4, but some hotly contested ones there. Let's look at your three featured athletes. Connor Davis out of Bullis. All they do is win for Coach Balestri.
Yeah, a big-bodied attackman who is headed to Bucknell University. Just a lot, takes up a lot of space, very powerful player, and a player with a really good shot.
And William Overly out of Lovett School. Shout out Jim Busick, who was a midfielder of the year in Division I. I think he scored 21 goals, but he is the player that everybody wanted on their team. What do you like about William Overly?
Well, first of all, Jim was a teammate of mine back at Loyola High School, and he's a guy that was end-to-end, could run all day, wasn't the biggest goal scorer, but oftentimes, much like he was at North Carolina, the most important player on the field. So great to see him coaching this South team. Overly is a player who, at this juncture, I believe is uncommitted. He's a player from the state of Georgia, but he comes up and plays his summer ball in the Baltimore area. He plays for the FCA team locally, so very familiar with him from a club standpoint, and just a slick player. Really good stick skills, good instincts, and a player with a high IQ.
And then Baltimore, Truett Sunderland. I mean, what superlative has not been used yet? The kid's a star.
Really shifty attackman, great vision. What I like about Truett is he's undersized, but he's able to get great separation from bigger defenders, and he sets his teammates up very, very well. He just committed to the University of Virginia recently, so a great get for Lars Tiffany.
And a great player, you measure him by, he makes the other people around him better, and Truett certainly does that. Let's get into the highlights of the championship game because it was spectacular. And here are your title game highlights. Baltimore in black, South in red. Truett Sunderland. We talked about him. Speed, and he knows how to get it started. So much so, he does it twice. That escalated quickly. Brian Kelly has a star in Truett Sunderland. Now it's number 12. Luke Raymond from Gonzaga scorches one past goaltender Wes Schmidt, who is none too pleased about it. And now it's Spencer Hughes unleashing anger. What are you so upset about, Spence? Luke Roa with the hitch. Schmitty with the save. But right there is Hugh Milani with the Bobby Benson-esque garbage goal. And now it's Dakota Ehrman out of DeMatha. Our Lady of Blessed Acceleration, don't fail me now. Baltimore, Brett Jackson out of Robertson High School. What he did to that corner is illegal in 6 counties. And now Baltimore, Hayden Miller. It's Miller time from outside. But Connor Davis gets a little bit of a freebie here. Ball goes down, catches, and scoops and scores. And now DC's Kieran Anzalone, Bullis star, puts a bow tie on the title for Coach Jeff Balestri, and DC will be taking a trip to Va Beach Va in October. Dixie, Stone Cold Stars.
Connor Davis was great all tournament long. 6 goals, 3 assists. Good for a big-bodied attackman. You know, a guy who is a goal scorer first, but I like the way he distributed the ball. Truett Sunderland for the Baltimore team was spectacular all weekend. The quarterback of that offense, he's a feeder first. But I thought what you saw this weekend was his goal scoring on display. What I like most about this highlight regional was Washington whipped through the pool play, including shellacking Baltimore twice on Saturday. That's what you gotta love about 2-day tournaments. That second day is a fresh start. Baltimore gave DC everything that they could handle. They just came up a little bit short. Hats off to that DC team winning the highlight division of the South Super Regional.
What a great way to recap all 4 divisions of the South Super Regional. Great competitiveness all over the board. Dixie, we're going to get back with the West Super Regional when we possibly can. But thanks for the time. For Mark Dixon, I'm Booker Corrigan, CSE TV, reminding you, you only get one shot at today.